Thank you for tuning into the reading produced by Black Spectrum Network. Please go to www.blackspectrumnetwork.com to purchase a private psychic reading. If you can't get enough of my content, go to patreon.com/Black Spectrum Network. For as little as $2 a month, you can get these and other videos at least 1 week ahead of their YouTube release date. Please like this video, click the subscribe button, and leave us some feedback in the comments section. I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling personality cards about Umar Johnson. The first card I get for Umar Johnson is the Knight card. So this is essentially saying that Umar Johnson is a doer. He's a fighter. He's not a master strategist, but rather he's a student to life. He's not someone that is a teacher. Rather, he has acquired he's acquired wisdom and knowledge from different gurus, and he reteaches and he synthesized the information that he has learned, and he reteaches that to other people. As the Knight, he uses his information to appear loyal to certain causes. It is also, his intelligence has a romantic allure to it, and he also proclaims that he's very chivalrous. So he has he's pretty much tried to acquire his knowledge for the purpose of figuring out how to better deal with women. But also at the same time, with him being the Knight, this means that he can be very loyal to different causes that have destructive consequences, or he can be loyal to people who are thought leaders, but their thoughts are very their thoughts are not even just controversial, but their thoughts can be devastating to different communities, or his thoughts, but he typically as a Knight will gravitate towards people who are powerful thought leaders, people that are very masculine, and people that feel that masculinity is one of the key features, or bringing back masculinity to certain communities, or caring for masculinity in certain communities is going to be what helps it to thrive. So as the Knight, he wants to be the embodiment of that principle. The Engineer card is speaking about him being he's great with numbers. So what I do know is that his dissertation, I haven't seen it or read it, but the title of it says that he used a quantitative analysis for his dissertation. So the Engineer card would essentially be telling us that he has an affinity for math, arithmetic, statistics. At the same time, he relies on numbers and statistics to translate, to help him better understand the world, or he uses numbers and statistics to translate his understanding of the world to people. And the brilliant side of that is that he's a great educator and a great orator, and his mind works in a very linear way, so it's easy to follow what he's saying and how he gets to his conclusions. People can understand that. The downside to that is that his mathematical thinking limits his ability to really understand how personal experience and numbers can sometimes not match with each other, that all people's personal experiences are not simply shaped by these numbers that he's dealt with or studied. The advocate card is talking about him, having a natural desire to be an advocate, or he's someone that cares a lot about. He has an energy that where he cares a lot about social issues. He cares more so about social issues than he does political issues and financial issues. He's a social activist. And what I see is that he has a deep caring about the nuclear family. And he wants he says that, and here's the thing is like, what I'm saying is that he has this understanding that the black family needs to be modeled after a European model. It's like, a man, a woman, and kids can be in a household. At the same time, he also will blend that with, different West African family structure ideas. He also blend that with different ideas about West African family structures, traditional West African family structures where men have multiple wives. So ultimately, he tries to embrace every ideology and every belief from different communities that will propagate and treat masculinity as though it is regal, royal, and very important. He has a very masculine energy, and he has a deep appreciation for men that have a lot of money, men that have a lot of social influence in society as well. The Mystic card is speaking about he has an intimate relationship with the divine. So this essentially, you can think of Umar Johnson. He may not. I don't get that he deals with psychics, but I do get that he practices an African traditional religion. I feel that he is a powerful sorcerer. I think that he knows that his words are spells. He's very aware that, he's very much aware of how to use his magic for the purpose of domination. I don't see it as he practices any sort of I don't think that he practices the dark arts. I don't see that. Rather, I feel that he I get that he has a Baba, and he's definitely gets African readings, because I'm seeing cowrie shells. This is he feels like he's on his path. He feels that he is trying to bring, and what his spirits tell him is that he's helping to bring balance, like balance and polarity as far as like masculine and feminine energy. He feels like he is making men wholly masculine and women wholly feminine, and that those two energies should not be within. A man should not have masculine and feminine energy. He feels like he's bringing a spiritual balance to the communities that are listening to him. The healer card is speaking about him obviously trying to create different political and social plans that will transform the pain that has been inflicted upon the African American community into healing. He feels that his institutional strategies he feels that his strategies to building educational institutions will repair the mind, body, and spirit of the African American community. But he's also, the shadow attributes to this card is speaking about how people can take advantage of those who need help, and fail in those who fails to care for themselves. So he will work with people that cannot care for themselves. A lot of people that are, I don't want to say a lot of people that are followers of Umar Johnson, but Umar Johnson feels that a lot of people that follow him are not capable of caring for themselves. Therefore, they are learning under him to learn how to care for themselves in a racist system. And he feels that he is healing them mind, body, and spirit. And part of it he is because these people are becoming more radical, but because he's not as active as he needs to be, hands-on, like practical action, his followers cannot be as practical, so they're not getting as healed as they need to. The Fool card came out, so this is saying that Umar Johnson, he's transparent. You know, he doesn't sugarcoat what he thinks. He doesn't mind putting it out there. What he believes on any issue, he's very genuine about it. When he says that he doesn't like something, he truly doesn't like it. He doesn't know how to posture himself to be someone that he, in a way that he doesn't know how to posture himself in an authentic way, and he definitely doesn't try to pander to the interest of white people. So he gives it raw. These are his thoughts. He feels that he is saying what everyone is thinking. But also at the same time, he has a great sense of humor in private. That, you know, a lot of people see it. I'm seeing him in my mirror. I'm seeing him standing in front of different audiences, and there are moments where he can make a funny. He can make a cute joke, you know. With that being said, the Fool card is saying that he allows himself to be vulnerable to hurt other people, to either make them feel like they're not as smart as him, or to persuade them into believing what he believes. So it's always, he wants his emotional truths, things that he feels are, his things that he's strongly convicted by, that are based on his personal experience and the research that he has chosen to come across, the research that he has chosen to find and emphasize. He strongly believes that he has life transforming ideas, and that people should adopt some of his strategies, and that people that don't think like him are victims of racism. But at the same time, his role in society is to help us to laugh at the hypocrisy of society. That society created Umar Johnson. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's controversial because we're in a controversial society. The Rebel card is saying that he goes against the grain. He feels that in all ways he must be different, in all ways he must be critical, in all ways he must be suspicious. Umar Johnson is, someone that I would consider, to be a conspiracy theorist. And yeah, he's a conspiracy theorist. That's the energy that I get from him. But he is someone that is spiritual only because it serves his needs. He's spiritual because it helps him to get different people on board with him. It helps. He knows he's unlocked the universe, where he knows that he can create whatever reality he wants by just becoming whoever he wants to be. But he's genuine in what he believes. He knows that criticisms are not going to criticisms of him are not going to stop people from being influenced by what he has to say. But he's very emotional. All these cards are very emotional, and they speak about how he does these things out of anger, which isn't a bad thing, because he feels very justified in his anger. And Spirit is saying to me that he has a right to be angry at the things that he's angry at. And he's a hypocrite because it influences people to be more critical of what it is that they're seeing around them, and it inspires them to create social change. either or to like basically to change themselves, because either they're going to want to be more like Umar Johnson or less like Umar Johnson, because of his rebellious attitude. Regardless, he causes for people to rebel against the system, though they may not agree with his opinions. They do become more radical once they come into contact with his thinking and his information. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle my cards and I'm going to ask a couple of questions about, Umar Johnson. Hold on one second. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask is, what happened to the money that people donated to him for that school? What happened to the money? Oh, okay. So the first row of cards is saying that the isolation card is saying that he. Okay, so so the first thing I see is that in public, the isolation card is saying that he's saying that some accounts were frozen, or that money was frozen, or that things were put on pause, things were put on hold. People donated their money, and then there was a block. It's like he said that people were not allowed to donate anymore. There was a wall put up from them donating. Then I get the card for the burden and the card for courage, and he said that this caused him a tremendous amount of difficulty in getting more support for this. That this was an obstacle for him to get his school off the ground. The courage card is saying that it took a lot for him to admit this, to say this very publicly, and to tell this story. The completion card is saying that on the background, the money that I'm going to ask if he received money or if the story was true. But the completion card is saying that it was like receiving this money helped him to complete a piece of some puzzle. Experience and guidance. Basically, on a spiritual level, this he was able to see that people would support him financially, and this helped him. This helped him a lot. This money. The guilt card. Well, the guilt card is saying that he didn't tell the truth. It's saying that there is some guilt that he was feeling on the background, but he also felt guilty that his plans weren't going the way that he wanted them to. As far as getting the school off the ground, he wanted this money to come into his bank account immediately and to get things started. But the Lover's card and so the Lover's card is saying that part of some of this money was either taken or spent by on a relationship. The We Are the World card and the Silence card are saying that this relationship that he was in with the money that he had, these two people felt like they had the world at their fingertips, and they were both not saying anything about it. So let me see. I'm going to ask. So essentially, it's saying that in public, he said his accounts were frozen, and this caused him a great. It was like he's like this upset him. He's mad that this happened, and he's going to do something to fix it. And then on the background, the private is saying that this money was actually spent. He and I guess he may be married. I don't know. Is he married? This money was spent in the in the background. It was like it was spent on something on things in the relationship. Okay, so did he get this money? Control, rebirth, slowing down, the outsider, existence, morale. He received the money. Okay, so the control card, rebirth, and slowing down are saying that. Okay, so the slowing down card is saying that yes, he received the money. Did they freeze his accounts though? They have frozen. Umar Johnson has had his financial accounts frozen in the past. He's had his financial accounts frozen in the past. So he used this story to explain why people couldn't see this money. They didn't know how much was actually donated, and they didn't know. He just wanted to keep the anonymous. Basically, telling the story keeps everything anonymous, or keeps people in the dark, or keeps them guessing about him telling the truth. He tells half truths. The control card, the rebirth card, the slowing down cards are saying that this moment where he was not able to get this money together. How do I say this? It's like he's done this before. His accounts have been frozen before, but I feel like he's had other types of businesses where people have donated to them, and his accounts have been, quote unquote been frozen. Like he was somebody deposited money into this bank account, and guess what? Your account was frozen. It was a fraudulent check or something. It's things like that. Like, so it's like, no, I don't think that PayPal shut his account down because he was receiving too many donations. I feel that he was very much in control of everything at the time. He was in control of the narrative, in control of the finances, but he's bringing up an old story again. But he also had to slow down the momentum. Like he had to he had to keep telling this story and spend a lot less time working on getting the school established in order to make this seem legitimate. Because if he's not establishing the school, it makes it seem like he has so much opposition against him and this school is just so important and so phenomenal. But in reality, he's just telling this narrative because he actually has the money. The outsider card, the existence card, the morality card is saying that one of the things we can assume is like, the punishment of him doing this is that he's now been ostracized or marginalized from in the public eye, and he has a cult following, but it's a cult following that is on the fringes of the black community. The existence card, the morality card is essentially saying that in essence, just who he is. Like I said before, I feel that he serves a very specific purpose in society, but his existence and is basically saying that because of his immoral behavior around this money, like not doing the right things, it has caused for him to be ostracized. So that's what happens to the money. And those are the consequences of what happened with him in that money. Okay, so is he actually trying to build a school? Spirit is saying that he's negotiating. He's always in negotiations. Like he doesn't. Okay, so Umar Johnson, I don't think that he has very radical plans, but he's not very cooperative, and he doesn't like to compromise. So he can meet he could start a charter school, but he doesn't want to compromise with the state on how to describe the charter school or what he's going to be teaching, the curriculum. He'll meet an investor, but he doesn't want to compromise on what the board of trustees would want. He doesn't. Is his way or the highway. The innocence card, the trust card, is saying that he's new to this, and he's genuine about getting it done. It's just that he doesn't trust other people to help him. He doesn't trust that other people are going to support his mission. And he also is always speaking about compromise as a means to keep people trusting in him and his ability to get this job done. Spirit is saying that this may not really ever happen, though. The success card, clinging to the past and beyond illusion, is saying that, he had a window of opportunity to get it done. But his ancestors I don't think that they're really caring about a school. They don't, I think that he's supposed to, be on television, and he's supposed to be doing more media work or hosting like or creating a children's show or creating a children's network or something. I feel like his ancestors want him to move into media, kind of like his rival Tariq Nasheed. But I don't think that this school is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, not because his ancestors don't want it to happen, but his business practices and his sensibilities won't really allow for it to happen. He's going to have to give up some things. What does he think of LeBron James's new school? He's actually pretty happy for it. He's happy for LeBron James. He doesn't have negative feelings towards it. What it has done, however, is caused him. He's very how do I say this? He's envious of what happened. And he also isn't appreciative of people's comparisons. People comparing him to LeBron James. His energy is very frenetic, and it's because he feels like he has to get something done now. Like, I have to get something done. I have to get this school done. So he's going to he's always going to be publicizing his progress, but he's never going to publicize an actual accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that he'll show that he's in a meeting with someone that's important, but he's not going to show him signing things off. He's not going to show himself doing a ribbon cutting ceremony. It's always going to be about he's negotiating things. He's having a meeting with people about it. But as far as how he feels about LeBron James' school, he has a positive attitude towards it. He's not hating on it. He wants it to be successful. He's not fond of the idea, but he likes it. And when I say fond, Umar Johnson would not sit on this board of trustees because he feels that it is not outwardly addressing race and racism. He feels like, it's too covert. He wants something that's a lot more in your face. And he also wants it to have a stronger focus on West African culture and emphasizing the importance of Black economics. He wants it to be all Black everything, Other than that, he's proud that this, he's like, I'm proud that this brother got this school accomplished. But for him, because he can't get his dreams, he can't manifest his dreams, it's causing him a lot of stress. His energy is frenetic. So you'll probably see him posting more about the school, but it's always going to be about the progress of getting things done, like how things are progressing, but not the accomplishments. And I don't think there are many accomplishments. I think he's always in meetings, he's always in talks, always in negotiations, but he never closes the deal. Is he an ancestor of? Is he a biological descendant of Frederick Douglass? Just from these cards, Spirit is basically like chuckling, and it's like a light no. It's like a no. No. The understanding, aloneness, and adventure card are saying, okay, understanding is saying that he says a lot of things that can't be historically verified in a way, but because it's like part of his narrative can't be verified because it's like it involves the situation. It's like what I'm hearing is that Umar Johnson will say something like, "Oh, my ancestor was a great cousin of this person, and they had the same, father or uncle or something." It's like it could be true if it's like if I said that my dad was LeBron James or something, and I mean just hypothetically. In the hypothetical world, my dad is LeBron James, and he had me out of wedlock, and my mom never introduced me to that side of my family, but I want to let you know it's like that. It's like these things are old, but people weren't everybody wasn't keeping birth records around that time. Okay, so that he's capitalizing on those gray areas. So he inserts information that he feels is true into those gray areas. The aloneness card is saying that the Frederick Douglass Foundation did not want to verify whether there was or wasn't true. They just want to leave him hanging. And then the adventure card is saying that he, this for him is like, this is part of him creating his own reality. That's what I'll say. It's part of him creating his own reality. Spirit is saying that he's definitely slowed down a lot on calling himself an ancestor of Frederick Douglass. The Fool card is saying that he thought it was going to, it's like it could have worked, it could not have worked. It was good that he tried it because he got to see how much power and influence that he could have over people. But the postponement and the turning in card is saying that he's thought to himself about it, and he's just like, I feel that I'm an ancestor of Frederick Douglass, but I'm not going to say anything else about it. If somebody asks me, I'll give a little bit of, he's just going to repeat himself. He's going to repeat the same thing over that he said before. It's not like he's going to add new information. But, in his head, he is an ancestor of Frederick Douglass. That's how he feels. Let me see let me ask this question. What are the echoes of Frederick Douglass's energy saying about Umar Johnson being his descendant? The rebel, nothingness, and integration. So the Frederick Douglass's energy is saying like, this is another form of Umar Johnson being himself. He's saying things that lead to absolutely nothing. He's espousing this information and is not going to make him more credible or more legitimate. And the integration card is saying that, what's been said has been said. There's nothing more that needs to be said. He's like Frederick Douglass's energy is basically like, my descendants have already spoken through that document, through that letter that's posted on my website. This person cannot integrate themselves into the Douglass family. So that's what it is. All right. So with that being said, Please go to www.blackspectrumnetwork.com to purchase a private psychic reading. If you can't get enough of my content, go to patreon.com/Black Spectrum Network. For as little as $2 a month, you can get these and other videos at least 1 week ahead of their YouTube release date. Please like this video, click the subscribe button, and leave us some feedback in the comment section. Before I go, I'll leave you with this quote from Iyanla Vanzant. The answer always lives in the same room as the question. You are the answer, and I know this to be true. I'm your reader, Nexo, and thank you for tuning in to the reading.
So fuel my fire, take me higher, I'll be your liar too. Cause when we're here, there's nothing better than the skyline view. Ooh.